Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called 26 Weird Things Australians Say. So interested to see this. I've been watching a lot of videos. People have been recommending a lot of videos about Australian slang and different words that are said in Australia. So interested to see this. I'm sure I've probably seen some of these before, but yeah, I'm sure there's some I've definitely not. 26 is a lot of things. So tell me what you think about these. Tell me if these are things you say. And as always, if there's anything else you think is interesting about what's said in Australia, please tell me in the comments.
Good morning from Australia. Weather update is it is very rainy today. So I will not be getting out of this Udi until I need to go to work in like half an hour, 45 minutes. But I thought today it would be fun to sit down and share with you all some weird things as a Canadian that I've heard Australians say since coming here on my working holiday visa. But okay, let's just get right into it because I have been keeping a list since getting here. But the first thing I noticed that was kind of weird that Australians said to me was, how are you going? Like in Canada, we ask, how are you doing? But in Australia, to see like how you are, they ask, how are you going? Instead of how are you doing? The next thing Australians say is too easy, as in like right on or like awesome, thank you. Like when you do something for them or you tell them something and they're like accepting what you're saying, they say too easy. Another one they say that's kind of along the same lines is legend. Or they say you're a legend. Or if you say something that they like, they just say legend.
Yeah, we say that in Scotland as well, actually.
Cheers. They say cheers a lot. It's like a word of approval, or sometimes even like thank you, they'll say cheers. Something that I actually really like Australians saying is darl. Darl. It kind of sounds like doll when they're saying it, but it's like short for darling. Like, thanks, doll. It's cute. And I've never heard anyone in Canada say that before. Obviously, in true Australian fashion, I've never heard that word be used so much. I actually don't know if I've ever really heard anyone use that word. In Canada, we mostly just drop like F-bombs every second word. So yeah, I'd never really heard before, but they say it all the time. They say it to their friends. It can be like an endearing thing, or it can just mean like a person, like, I don't know, they use it all the time.
Yeah, that's the one I see a lot of like Americans, in this case Canadians, talk about as well. Being British, I've said before many times that we say it just as much as Australians, maybe even more. But I can imagine, like, I know how it's thought of in America, Canada. It's like one of the worst words you can say. To go somewhere where it's so casually used must be quite a culture shock, man. Quite a interesting experience.
Another one that I know isn't like purely just Australian. It's also from like Europe and stuff. They just say rubbish. We don't say rubbish. We say like garbage or trash, and they say rubbish. So I think that's kind of funny. Another weird one that they say when you say thank you, instead of saying like it's all good, I feel like that's when in Canada we say it's like, oh, no problem, like it's all good. They'll say it's all right. And that one kind of threw me off at the beginning because in Canada I feel like we don't really say like it's all right as like a no problem thing. It's like, it's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Like, you've done something wrong, but it's all right because I can handle it. You know what I mean? Rather than like, oh, it's no problem. You're welcome. Yeah, they say it instead of you're welcome. Something funny that I've heard Australians say that I really like actually is a feed, like a meal. If they're going to eat some food, I'm just going for a quick feed. I'm here to grab myself a feed. Yeah, I like that one.
I've never heard that before. I've never seen someone mention that.
Liquor stores bottle-os or bottle shops. And a lot of Australian bottle-os or bottle shops are drive-through, which is strange. We don't have that in Canada. They call gas stations a servo, like a service station, I guess. We just call them gas stations. They have this weird nickname for the afternoon called Arvo. They'll say this Arvo. Also, when I say it in my accent, everything sounds so harsh and like not cool, but yeah. Arvo, I didn't know what that was when I first got here, but it just means afternoon. They call McDonald's Maccas, which I'd never heard before. I've heard people call it Don's. In Canada, we call it Don's, Mickey D's, but I'd never heard Maccas. That's what everyone calls it here. They call trucks Utes. Never heard that one. They call candies lollies, which I thought lollies were just like a lollipop.
Yeah, that one was like the most surprising for me as well, actually.
Another thing they say instead of like no problem is no drama. Just kind of neat. They call sausages, like hot dogs, snags. Well, I guess more like smokies. And also when they eat...
I think that one, I don't think, if I understand correctly, is like not just hot... I don't think it's hot dogs. I think it's just normal sausages. Is that correct?
They're hot dogs. They don't use hot dog buns. Everyone here uses white bread fold it around the snag, which I thought was a little funny because the only time we really do that in Canada is when we like run out of hot dog buns, but they do that as their first option here. I also didn't know what a swag was until I came here. There are a lot of people that have swags, and they're basically just like a single tent thing that a single person could fit into and sleep in for like camping and stuff. Now here are a couple of weird ones. A stubby is what they call a bottle. So if they go into like a bottle shop, or if they go into a bar, they'll ask for a stubby of something. That just means a bottle of something. And if they want the can of something, they'll call it a tinny sometimes, or a tin.
I think a stubby is just a small one, is it?
Just thank you is they'll say thanking you. I've never heard anyone say thanking you before as thank you, but they say it. And they also say ta.
I think that one maybe is like just specific people. I've heard that in the UK. It's not like everybody say thanking you, but maybe sometimes where you go to like a shop or something, they'll be like thanking you, but it's like not what everybody says, I think.
Like, I didn't know what that was the first time someone said that to me. They'll say ta. But it just means thank you. Now this one is just silly. Again, was very confused the first time I heard it. Was sanger. It means sandwich. Like a steak sanger is a steak sandwich. But a ranger is a redhead. Another thing Australians say.
Really? Is that true? I never knew.
Coming here was it won't be a minute. When they're trying to tell you like what they're about to do, it won't take long. In Canada, I think we say like it'll just be a minute or just a second. They'll say like it won't be a minute. And get this one, okay? A doggy bag. What does that make you think of? A doggy bag makes me think of like the bag that you use to pick up your dog's waste when you go on a walk. But in Australia, if someone asks for a doggy bag, they're probably at a restaurant asking if they can have a takeaway container, which I don't know where that came from, but I feel like I don't want to know the origins of that.
Yeah, we do call that in the UK as well. I don't know, for some reason I thought like North Americans would say doggy bag as well. I thought that was kind of universal, but yeah, clearly not.
If you're Australian or have been to Australia, I would love for you to comment down below your favorite weird things that Australians say, or things that you feel are very Australian to say, like other than g'day mate, which they honestly like don't say that much. Or if you're not Australian and have never been, I would love for you to tell me where you're from and what do you feel is the most like stereotypical things that are only really said where you're from. I'll leave you with that, as always.
That was cool. I like it. Nice video. Definitely a lot there that I hadn't heard before. Having watched a lot of videos about Australian slang, there was definitely some there that I never recognised or hadn't heard of before. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, but again, very unique. I do still feel that kinship being British, that some of them are shared words, but there's definitely some words that are just very unique to Australia. So tell me what you think about this and tell me your favourite Australian slang word. Thanks.